Hey, my fellow patriots, let's go ahead and continue with a part 2 of Could We Be Invaded? Stand by. Wonderful people, you are awesome. Welcome back to my loyalists. If this is your first time here, I ask that you check out some of my other work as well. I do a broad range of topics. I believe that networking is key, knowledge is power, and without each other, we will fail. And so going into that, yesterday, I went into the worst case scenario. A lot of people jumped the gun. They didn't allow me to get to this part 2. I spoke of the worst case scenario first. Okay, worst case. And the reality is that we will be facing is the fact that a lot of our people are not geared for war. We have been in a Disney World where they've been able to lay on the fucking couch and watch Netflix all fucking day. It's not like Africa where you're hunting for food every day and freaking trying to survive. You got starvation everywhere, disease, all that stuff. You go to the freaking Middle East, you see the same thing. You go into Asia, you see the same thing. You go into Northern Asia, you see the same thing. You go to South America, you see the same thing. You go to the entirety of Africa. Now, do you get the point? Not everywhere is the same as the United States. One of the key parts of our downfall is that we've gotten too cush and too soft. And now that we're too soft, now most of the poor think the only way that they can get ahead is by freaking doing this crazy ass shit on social media. It's, one of my psychiatrists was talking to me about his belief that this is kind of what happens in a first world country that has known nothing but really internal peace and has so many that are willing to do the fighting. And that's the problem. Now we have so many that are used to others stepping up that fewer and fewer are stepping up, and now we find ourselves in a situation where we're fighting for our country. Technically speaking, we've already been invaded, folks. This is just a hypothetical. We are already at war. We are in an information war. We're at a censorship war. We're at, a social media war where we have two parties colliding, which most of it is fake ass bullshit reality TV. And if you don't understand that, folks, they're playing a damn game. And the game is make as much money off the American people without them realizing it and keep them entertained. The Romans were the first ones to do this almost. Yes, they have taken some stuff from the past, but most of our modern commanders take a look at Julius Caesar when he was one of the Roman generals that first introduced the fact of using games and entertainment to win the people's hearts and to keep them distracted. The ultimate distractions, NFL, NBA, golf, all of those different things are major distractions, and it's just to keep us happy. And oddly enough, it's during specific times of the year, and they make sure that it's seasonal so that there's almost always something going around year-round. Most of the gameplay is all blueprints from our history. The exact same blueprints. If you've followed me for even a few months, you'll see that I constantly say, here is the blueprint of what they're doing right now, and here is the leader in history. History is my favorite subject. I love history. As a matter of fact, most of my time is probably researching history based on even researching the current stuff. Now, granted, I understand history is like science. It's whoever, in history, unlike science, science is whoever's paying for it. And in history, typically the battle that's won is by whoever's paying for it. But also in the same aspect, oh man, what a world we live in, huh? What a world we live in where the same stuff, and it goes along with if the wheel isn't broke, don't fix it, right? And that's exactly how the generational wealth elitists have managed to get this far. So let's Go ahead of that. Take all of that information I just said. So we're already distracted. We're already divided. We're already, we're not one solid army. What is China? They're the Chinese state. One unit. Now, the only thing we have going for us, it's a unit led by fear. But don't get it twisted. There's a lot of Chinese because what is it, 4,000, 5,000 years old, the Chinese Empire? How old is the United States? Do you honestly think, and much of my roundtable says the same thing, do you honestly think a 4,000-year-old empire gives a shit about us? To the Chinese, Americans are just cattle. We legitimately are fattened up and basically, given drugs, and most of it does. It comes from friggin' China. It does. It's what's the insane part. And China is already at war with the United States. How much intellectual property do they steal from us? How much? They've stolen planes that they got from Russia. Look this up. Planes that they got from Russia, they brought to China and reverse engineered them so that they could get better engines. Look it up, and better components. They stole the designs from their own ally. Look it up. You're talking about the least trustworthy people on the earth. And in my opinion, the state government over there is the most racist. It is one of the only countries where legitimately it's completely okay not to have a multiracial panel or government. Where we legitimately are called specific racial names to downgrade us and make us look inhuman and like Neanderthals. If we're being truthful. Now granted, I know Zuck is going to cover this video hard because of his wish to get into China and everything, and how he's kind of managed to dig his little claws in, and he certainly doesn't want to make any waves with China, and so I expect that my Bitchute is probably the only link that will actually be able to get passed around to websites, because I know this link and YouTube will probably be heavily censored on various social media platforms. So for those of you that are getting to watch this, hi. And thank you for your support. But anyhow, so now we're looking at a broad range, and tomorrow's part 3 will be more about the military side and strategy and tactics, so that way you can be really excited. But anyways, right now we need to discuss what's already in place that we need to be aware of. So we looked at worst case scenario and we saw where we have major deficiencies, which we'll go into that tomorrow. But now we need to look at the reality of it. China hasn't been able to expand, but they've continued to grow. They also went away from the one-child thing, but a lot of people believe that that was because of the immense pressure that was being put on them due to the population control they have over there. If they know that you're pregnant with a second child, you usually get picked up by population police, which a lot of people in this world don't know about. Do yourself a favor. Start doing research on the real China. You'll cry. From the stuff that you haven't known about, from the stuff that you've supported not realizing it, you'll cry. I bet you'll never use Wish again. So the reality is, we also have Chinese companies buying land in the United States, which is very, very, very alarming, scary, and I mean, goodness, you're buying land, and now you have a foothold, and this is okay. What I'm understanding is that right now in the Dakotas, they're in a huge battle against Chinese companies. And the AG up there is fighting, and I'll let people from the Dakotas speak in the comments and bring you fully up to speed on that, as they are there and can give you the exact specifics. And if you know things about China, post up in the comments, man. Do not live in fear. I have your back. These other patriots have your back. I'm the one that they'll be after, not you. I'm the one with 20,000 freaking followers and speaking on this platform where I'm constantly shadow banned. But I refuse to give up. I refuse to leave because of these instances. If I can help save one life. Soldier's Perspective, I reached 8.8 million at my peak. On WarfighterBravo in a single year, I reached 1.5 million a month at my peak before shadow banning. I had 300,000 Americans engaged in my content. Comments, likes, shares. And so, you know, yeah. But I'm going to fight every day. It doesn't matter if I had that or not. I don't look at it like I've lost anything. I understand this is war. I understand I'm going to be shadow banned. I understand Facebook's going to try to make it look like I'm a skis. But what you don't know is that I'm actually pretty well to do as far as within the social atmosphere. I still maintain a heavy email and message traffic and everything like that. And I understand too. I don't want you to feel bad because I want to leave it with this. I'm going to leave a shorter video because I have another video I would like to look into and possibly do later for you all. I'll be honest with you, and this is a last little thing for some of y'all that maybe want to do the same thing as me. Be aware when you get into this, people do this. You'll hear about a ton of people talking about how they support you and how they ride or die or whatever. And the second you go on restrictions, and it's not as easy as just flipping through their newsfeed, that support is gone. That support is gone. They disappear. And then whenever I pop up whenever Facebook finally, after months, distributes my material to the bottom of your newsfeed, these people stumble across me again. And all of a sudden, they're right back to being these massive supporters and patriots. And in a second, the restrictions go back on again. They're gone. Just understand people will come and go. But your message stays the same. Let them come. Let them get your message and then let them go off into the world. You know? Part of our job as patriots is just to educate. And just like kids that are growing older in a grade or, you know, or jumping from elementary to middle to high school, you know, they move on. They move on. And a lot of it is like childish shit. It's like a shiny lure. What's keeping you entertained at that moment? But that's okay. Because the things that you taught will eventually take hold. Whether it's when shit hits the fan, when the boog starts, or anything like that. Okay? So don't get discouraged. War is hell. If you think it's bad now, this is the preliminaries, baby. This is just this is the wick that has been lit. And it's just burning out. You know, and we're just waiting for it to get to the goods. So don't fret. And if you're somebody that's in and out of the Warfighter Project, it's okay. It's okay. I love you. I'll die for you. It's fine. We all have lives to live and a routine and everything. You know? And I'm fortunate enough to be here with this equipment and have the interest of doing podcasting and vlogging and all that stuff. I mean, I get it, man. So long as you drop in and say hello every once in a while, we're good. We're good. Let me know how you're doing. Let me know how the family is and everything. And that's cool. Because I've had some people come to me and tell me how sorry they are and keep apologizing that they're in and out. And that's fine. That's fine. I understand life is life. Okay? And no matter what, Zach will be here. Whether it's 100,000 followers or 2 followers. Look at my Bitchute in YouTube. I just started them, but I mean, I'm starting brick by brick. And, you know, and I'm not advertising or anything like that. So all of the views that I get or anything or subscribers that I get are people that just stumble across my work. But I'm okay with that. If I have to build these other platforms brick by brick, I love that. I love meeting people as I go. And during these times of restrictions, I get to actually meet and get to know patriots during that time frame because I get to actually interact with a lot of you, which is so much fun. And that's why I don't mind if I'm under restrictions or if they've lifted restrictions. I'm going to be here. And no matter what, guys, I'm good at this, okay? You know, I've got the background. I've worked at this for 20 some odd years. You know what I mean? And I know without a shadow of a doubt that I am gifted when it comes to this kind of stuff. And it's just because I have the heart and passion for it. When you have love in your heart, when you have empathy, when you care for your fellow American, when you bleed red, white, and blue, you feel the pulse of the country. And that's why I can say without a shadow of a doubt, and I've always proven everything to you, whether it's sources, whether it's video, whether it's personal experiences, whether it's the tears in my eyes or the anger. I've cried on camera. I've screamed on camera. I will always be here for you. I'm typically the guy that digs knives out of my back. As some of y'all have seen, I've lost how many of you have been with me since the beginning and seen the ridiculousness of how some people get. Situations change people, and that's also why even some of the best people will become absolute crazed survival instinct, just robots. They're going to be a whole different person when that survival mechanism kicks in, and you might end up seeing the worst person ever out of what used to be the most loving and caring individual. It's what happens, the mental breaks that will happen, and that's what we'll talk about tomorrow. But guys, thank you for everything. Thank you for watching. Please like the video, share if that's your thing. I never ask you to do. I don't, you're a grown-ass person. You know what I mean? But anyways, if you're the kind that shares, please like and share. And as always, I'll see you for the next one.